So hi, Welcome to Rise Podcast. I'm Shane.
I'm Glory.
And we're here with.
I'm Michael from Heart of Gold.
And we're some questions to say about his upcoming EP, Human Nature. So congrats on that, by the way. How do you feel about the response, the announcement so far?
Great, really, really good. It's felt weirdly different to anything else I've released because I think it's much more personal, I guess. I mean, I've released music with Heart of Gold before, but since then, the only stuff I've released has been a team effort with Being as an Ocean, and so now doing this, it kind of feels like I'm out on display by myself. So little nervous, but excited because it's only a matter of weeks now before the whole thing is out. So yeah, very excited.
What is giving you that feeling of like everything is on display? Is it the music itself being more deeply personal, or the fact that like now you are not attached to another project, you know, having left Being as an Ocean and you just being like, this is your only project now?
Essentially, yeah. It's that, like you just said, I think it feels like because releasing previous records with Heart of Gold, it's always been like, okay, if they do well, that's amazing. I'm so grateful and thankful for even one person saying, hey, this is cool. But there's always been, okay, you know, I'm gonna continue to be busy with this other project anyway. So I kind of just like would second thought it for a little bit, but now it's like, well, I recently announced that I've stepped away from Being as an Ocean and putting all my time and devotion into Heart of Gold. Mm-hmm. So now it feels, yeah, like you said, it's just that way more personal. Like, oh God, like now I feel like I always try to prove something with Heart of Gold, but now it feels like, oh no, this is like legit. You really do have to prove something. So
yeah.
And I'm excited, but yeah, like I said, a part of me is very like, oh shit, okay, like how long can I sit on these songs before I have to show people, you know? And I'm ready now. I'm ready. I'm excited, but yeah, good. Any artist will tell you that there's apprehension as well as sheer excitement when you release new stuff.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well,
yeah, I can imagine how you're feeling like with the side project now becoming the main project.
The full project,
yeah. With that being said, about, you know, the side project now becoming the main project, how are you dealing like with any sort of extra pressure that you may or may not be putting on yourself? You know, with that being the focus now.
Well, it's really funny because one of the very first shows I played with Heart of Gold as Heart of Gold, I was a front man, and I've never been a front man. I've always been the guy with the guitar to the left, stage left, sings occasionally, and then just plays most. But now I have to like talk, and now I have to like say things. So I remember, I think there's a video of it somewhere, but I played the show. The very first Heart of Gold show was at a venue called 229 in London, and there was like 15-20 people there, and we were just so happy to be finally playing a show. But then it got to like the quiet part, and I'm like, what am I supposed to say? What do I do with my hands right now? Like, I don't have a guitar to play while I'm singing, so what do I talk about? And some guy I even said out loud, like, what do I say, you know? And some guy in the audience was like, thank the other bands. And I'm just like,
that's okay.
True.
Thank you, man. But no, I mean, it's learning a lot of new things, you know, like, because I kind of selfishly coasted my way through touring Being as an Ocean, where I don't actually say anything at all on stage. Occasionally I'll be like, thank you so much, but that's it. That I wouldn't be like, no, it would always be somebody else's job to be like, oh, thank you to the other bands, thank you to the venue, thank you to the crowd, and this. And I'm like, that's cool. Like, okay, now I have to learn things like to say what to say, when to say it. There's like a good, you know, a good timing for everything at a show. So yeah, I'm kind of like, if I feel like this, it sounds dumb saying it out loud, but you know, like in movies when the little kid wants to be a rock star, so he watches like music videos of like David Bowie, Michael Jackson, and he's like learning the moves in front of the mirror. I've actually been low-key kind of doing that recently because like
Yeah.
we're about to go on this big tour, and I'm like, okay, I want to be I want it to be cool, you know, and I want to
Mm-hmm.
look cool and act cool, not like dickhead cool, but like, you know, they're a cool band cool.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm like learning how to like, you know,
Have a
get a
little bit of
crowd
that
going
swagger,
and
you know?
be a front man.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly, you know.
Hell
You
yeah.
got that
So
shit. It's just growing pains. Yeah. That's all it fucking
that's it.
is.
You know,
Hmm.
that's it. Show one, I'll probably be the nervous wreck, but after that, you know what? I got a couple jokes lined up. I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
I'll
Turning
test them
turning
out and
turning your live show into a stand-up routine is a good way to just knock the nerves off right away. Unless the crowd
Oh, yeah.
sucks, then that might just make it
Oh,
worse.
it might make it 100%
oh
worse. Yeah.
yeah, but then I'll play into that of the
Yeah.
crowd
Oh.
sucking, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll
Mm-hmm.
make that the focus. I'll be
Yeah.
like, you know, like I'll make them the example. No, I'm just kidding.
You
I'll
turn a mirror on them.
put
Yeah.
everyone on blast. And
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like
yeah.
stop the song
Mhm.
halfway through and just call everybody out for standing
Exactly.
still. And
Y'all suck,
Exactly.
man.
Exactly. You
uh,
specifically right there
yeah.
suck. Yeah, that'll definitely get them on your side, I think. Yeah.
You, what's your problem specifically?
Like, get up here,
What's
actually.
what happened today to make you this way right now? Like
Exactly.
I'd feel I couldn't do that.
No.
I just want everyone to have a good time all the time, you know?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
Fuck yeah.
know we jumped right into it, but just to backtrack, the EP is fucking awesome. We both got to
It
check
is
it out.
incredible. Yeah,
Oh,
it's so fucking good.
thank you.
Hell yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you so much. That instantly has given me like it's chipped away at that like nervousness, apprehensiveness, and it's more like the excitement now because you got to listen to it and you like it, and that makes me just so stoked. So thank you guys so much.
Of course.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Appreciate
yeah.
that.
All right. So, is there any meaning behind the EP title or cover art?
Um, so the theme across the whole record is about human emotion and how a person will react to the situations that they are put in or put themselves in or accidentally dropped in. And it's about, you know, so Stranger to Your Love, like the very, very brief rundown of the tracks are about Stranger to Your Love is like slowly realizing that the person you love is not into it anymore or as much
Mm.
as you are. And you'll try and fight it for a long time. And then realize you have just that you're a stranger to that person now. So that's like an experience I know a lot of people have, a lot of close friends have dealt with, myself has dealt with, and it just like it made sense that okay, that's a feeling that I feel is relatable enough to write about. So yeah, that one kind of became its own, you know, I don't know, like it just developed itself almost because it was so easy to kind of write when I was, you know, like talking to people about like, oh, you know, going through a breakup and yeah, I'm like really struggling to keep this person interested in me. We've been together for 6 months, we've been together for 10 years, and it's like it doesn't matter when, it's just all about like, you know, it could come up at any time. So I just remember thinking, okay, that's like selfishly that's kind of like good writing fuel, but
Yeah.
so yeah, that kind of plays into like a human emotion of how a human would react. um and then the more I would talk to friends and even family and just be like how they would, you know, you'd hear, oh, they're going through this situation with their partner. And the song Human Nature was about like you know, knowing, oh, somebody's being a bit sneaky behind their partner's back and they're not knowing about it. And it's like, got this feeling, can't decide if I want this back. Just like, you know, like
Mhm.
it's they've made something right for so long, but they kind of want to go back and mess it up because of the excitement and the sneaky fun and everything. And it's so that's kind of like I don't know, the what are the lyrics in the chorus? I'm just trying to think now. Got this feeling I can't decide if I want this back just to wrong some rights. If I want to go back to being like, you know, doing something bad and wrong or whatever.
Mhm.
Again, another human reaction and response to relationships and love. And then
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, lyrically, I think it's relatively easy to tell what each one is about. um Love Me First, the last song, the acoustic song, that came out like, I've been writing that song for a couple of years actually, because I just remember having this idea about like how I saw this quote and it was like, you can't expect somebody, no, you can't tell somebody to that they're not capable of love until they love themselves, because it's, you know, it's slightly it's like an unfair statement to give to somebody. But then I remember thinking like, if I went into a relationship and I wasn't happy, that would be the most unfair thing. Not unhappy with that person, but unhappy with myself.
Mhm.
It would
Mhm.
be so unfair to that person. So I have to be at peace with myself. I have to be happy with myself. I have to take care of my shit before I put it out to
Yeah.
the world, to that relationship or so on. So Love Me First kind of stemmed from that feeling of, okay, like I need to be happy within before I can give that to you as well. And I don't want you to think I'm half-assed in this. I don't want you to think I'm not all in, because I will be once I love me first.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sorry, that was the longest answer in the world,
Oh,
but
it's
No,
okay.
it's good.
every song kind of like stems from how a person would respond or react to the good, the bad, the ugly, the happy, the lovey, everything within a relationship. And everything is down to just human nature and how that person is programmed to respond. And yeah, I think that kind of summed up the whole record for me. Each one is kind of its own story about, you know, a different part of a relationship or something. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Gotcha. Hell yeah.
God, I hope that makes sense.
No,
I
It
felt myself
does.
just
does.
start
100%.
but I felt myself start to just like roll off. I'm like, what the fuck am I talking about right now? But
No, complete sense.
yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Mhm.
you
good to
basically
know.
you prefaced how each song, then leads into the title and what emotion that song is touching on and how it all relates to it all makes sense. Don't worry. But is there any meaning
Yeah.
behind the cover art?
The cover art, I took a pic. So there's a place here in San Diego called the Wonder Museum or something, the Wonder
Yeah.
Museum,
Mhm.
and they do these big art installations. And I remember seeing this artificial sunset inside a warehouse, and I don't know what they did or how they did it. Some crazy experiment where at one end of at one end of this warehouse there was a sunset with
Mhm.
clouds, and it was beautiful, and it was inside, so it was obviously fake.
Mhm.
And then um somebody just happened to walk in front of it, and they looked at me as I took the picture, and I remember thinking to myself, God, this is like, it's like, even if it's like man-made, or even if it's something that you've created, you can still like turn your back on it, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. And I don't know why it just like clicked to me. I don't know if it was one of these like super emo pensive moments that I was having at this museum, but I remember thinking, that's kind of cool how something so beautiful has been created,
Mhm.
but you're still able to just like, you know not you're not afraid to just turn away
Damn.
from it in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a complete accident, but I remember, sometimes those happen where you will like see something, or take a picture of something, and you're like, oh, that looks like it could mean this, and that's just kind of how that happens. So yeah, it's I don't know if you can tell that it's like a fake sunset or something, but yeah, I just remember thinking, turn your back away from something, no matter how beautiful, even if it's a fake, like a fake persona of something else that's so
Mhm.
beautiful, you can still just turn away from it. And yeah, that's kind of where that stemmed from. So
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Damn. That's deep as fuck.
It
That's
is.
like that kind of like blew my mind a little bit. Like shit. Yeah, you're right. All right.
I can't, I promise you though, I will admit, I cannot take full credit and be like, oh, I had every intention to make it look like
Mhm.
that, but it was definitely an accident. But I
Mhm.
remember thinking, I just took my camera, took a picture, and at the exact moment, somebody turned and looked at me. And I remember thinking, God, that looks like they've just turned their back on this beautiful thing
Yeah.
for whatever reason. And then, boom, it plays into the theme of the
Yeah.
record. So, yeah,
Worked out perfectly.
yeah, so
Huh.
Oh yeah.
it did. It did. Very happy accident for sure.
Mhm.
Love
Wonderful.
it. So can you tell us a little bit about your writing process for the EP?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I do a lot of it here at home. I can't really see it. I have a very, very small desk set up over there where I'll just sit with an acoustic. I'll sit with my little keyboard, my plug in a guitar, and I'll just like hear a melody or I'll hear something. Lyrically, again, it's I have just I think we talked about it on the last time we spoke, but a lot of my writing just is from years and years and years of just like jotting down sentences or even just words in notebooks and journals. And so every so often I'll refer to those. So yeah, that's kind of it. I'll just like sit here and write a bunch of stuff, and then I'll have some kind of breakthrough idea out of 20 attempts, 30 attempts, maybe one thing will come through, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. I'll do a very, very rough demo. And then I'll listen to a lot of stuff that I've been into a lot of been checking out a lot of new stuff recently. I've been focusing way more. I got in this sorry, I keep flip-flopping between where my mind is going, but because since being as an ocean, I was so focused on like writing heavy music for the longest time that I didn't give this like writing pop music like my full attention until very recently, where I've been like, oh, this is it now, you know, this is where my main writing focus is. So
Yeah.
I've been hearing so many new things and so many exciting new things, a lot of bands that I like had heard the name but never really gave time to like dive into. And yeah, I just like got head first into it, and I've just been like really enjoying this whole like new world. So a lot of the inspiration has come from that too, down to like chord structures and melodies and ideas and BPMs and, you know, kick patterns and all this crazy stuff. And I'm not a producer. I just like I can hit record and like track some stuff, but
Yeah.
it's not like finished product stuff. So and I got to work with Courtney Ballard on this last record, who did Emma Rosa. He's state champs, all time low. He's done some like really, really cool stuff. And he just worked with this band recently, Slowly, who I've been like jamming so hard recently. They're so good. But his like, we'll talk every so often, and he'll send me this new band that he's working with, and I'm like, God, this is incredible. I have to get in with you. So yeah, we booked some time at the end of last year. And we just spent like 2-3 weeks. I would do back and forth San Diego to LA, and his assistant Stefano we would have in the studio with us, and we would just like hang out, drink lots of coffee, eat some good lunch, and then be like, right, yeah, we got some ideas, let's go, let's write some stuff. And a lot of the stuff I went in with became what they are, what you can hear now. But a lot of it was kind of formed in the studio, just being around these insane creative people who are just like, their whole life is just like melodies and writing top notes for choruses. And it's just like, I love that world. I've been doing it for so long, but I love that world so much, just being in a room with somebody who like gets it. And that's what it was like the whole process. So yeah, could not be happier. Usually there's been like records I've done in the past with like other bands and stuff where I'll listen back to something we've done, and I'm like, God, I you know, I'm gonna be so proud of this record. And then you hear it back and you're like, God, I wish I did this, or I should have changed that. And next thing you know, you got another couple months before you're like tweaking and rewriting and stuff before you're super happy with it. But for some reason, this record, it just like happened. And when we started sending back like the almost finished products, it's like, yeah, there's nothing I want to change. This is cool enough. So yeah, that's when you know you've done a relatively good job. Say,
I think so. Yeah.
You mentioned now you like finally have been able to really delve into the world of pop music, check out artists and bands that you haven't been able to check out in the past. So I'm curious, like, what you've been checking out and what like wound up influencing this EP?
Oh,
Yeah.
let me pull up my Spotify right now because there's been a lot of interesting stuff. Um, so there's a French artist who I've been chatting with actually about working on some stuff together.
Oh,
His
fuck
name's
yeah.
Slows,
Mhm.
Mhm.
Slowz. Slows. He does
Mhm.
like that kind of 80s synthwave dream pop, but again, the melodies and stuff that he writes is just so cool. Holly Humberstone.
Mhm.
She's big in the 1975 dirty hit world. Incredible songwriter. The new Brat Charlie
Oh,
XCX. That's
goddamn
like
right. Yeah.
have not
Mhm.
stopped with that one recently.
Yeah.
I'll be very honest. It took me a hot minute to get into Chapel Roan. It
Mhm.
did take me a hot minute,
Mhm.
but I'm now like into it big time.
Yeah.
The
Dope.
new that Hot to Go track is like
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
such an incredible,
It's an
like
earworm.
just
Mhm.
fantastic songwriting. Like
Mhm.
it
Mhm.
just like incredible. But then there'll be stuff which is I guess wouldn't really be pop, but still heavily influenced, like Oh Wonder,
Mhm.
Bon Iver. Been really back into like Prince recently. I was
Oh,
always into Prince,
fuck yeah.
but Prince is like, yeah, Prince is like just I don't know, just top tier when it
Fucking
comes to how
Prince.
many do they have like fucking 80 albums or something stupid, but
Something
incredible. Just
ridiculous. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. I'm just looking at my like most recently added, like I have like a influence playlist.
Mhm.
Um, Post Malone's in there. Yeah, Japanese House. God, there's some good stuff. Yeah. And then I'll just put this on, I'll hit play, and I'll be driving to it. Fickle Friends. I don't know if you're familiar with Fickle Friends. They're from the UK.
Mhm.
You know that band?
I think I've heard the
So
name.
Fickle, that dude, incredible. I think they're from Brighton. And they just like did such an incredible job. They have this one record, I think it's called You Are Someone Else. And yeah, I would listen to that on my drive to and from work or to and from LA, and I'd just be like, all right, this is a chorus or this is a
Mhm.
melody, and oh, I have a very similar like chord structure. I wonder if I made mine a bit more like that one, would it make my song sound better? And it would, So
Yeah.
we yeah, a lot of cool stuff from Fickle Friends. Oh man, there's so much in here. Oh, a really cool band from Dublin called Milk. I don't know if you're familiar
Oh,
with Milk.
I
Mhm.
think so.
It's
Yeah.
the singer Mark, I believe his name is an actor.
Mm.
He's been in a lot of cool stuff. There's a show on Netflix right now called The Tourist,
Mhm.
which is like Australian outback, but then he's like a Irish, like I don't know if he's like a drug lord or something, but he has a head injury and he ends up in Australia and he doesn't know who he is, but people are after him to kill him, and he
My
goes back
God.
to Ireland, and yeah, the one of the actors, Mark, I can't think of his last name, but Milk, his
Mhm.
band are so good. I got to see them here in San Diego. They did this small tour last year, and yeah, Milk in my top five bands that I've been like heavy rotating recently. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's been interesting because like the heaviest stuff I have on this new playlist is like okay, the new Knock Loose record
I just
is
saw
like
them on
no other.
Sunday.
It's oh my god, dude.
It's crazy.
I haven't seen them. I think I saw them in like 2018 was the last time. So it
Oh
was like
shit.
a club show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like tiny shit. And
Mhm.
I'm just like, it's such an insane growth for a band, such a
Mhm.
natural growth too. It's not like, I don't know, it's just strength to strength for that band. It's just
Mhm.
fascinating. So yeah, Knock Loose has been like my own real like kind of heavy rotating band recently. But yeah, that's kind of like this new world of pop music is great because the only thing is there's just so much of it,
Mhm.
Oh my God. Yeah.
and you get so lost. You hear a song, I'll put like a random playlist on, and I'll hit play, and it'll be random bands, and I'll be like, oh, a lot of this is very similar sounding, and you
Mhm.
go, and check out who it is, and you're like, I have no idea who this person is or this artist is.
Yeah.
And then you'll check more of their stuff out, and you're like, okay, this is like another brand new artist or band that now I can just like really get into. And that's
Hmm.
happened a lot recently. So yeah, it's cool. It's a great world. It's an interesting world to be in, the pop world.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Very different than like
for
the
sure.
hardcore, metalcore, whatever. So
Hmm.
For sure.
Yeah.
yeah.
Heck yeah. So what song off the EP took longest to write, and which one is your personal favorite?
Ooh. So longest to write was definitely Love Me First, the last song. Cause like, well, it's come, I have like a folder on my computer called Love Me First versions.
Mhm.
And I'm not kidding, there's probably like 16, 17
Ah, damn.
versions in there where
Damn.
Oof.
there'll be like something slightly different in each one.
Hmm.
And then the very, very last one I wrote, it's called like LMF version 15, 16 or whatever.
Hmm.
I like would listen to, I'd put it on my phone, I'd listen to it while I was driving or whatever, and I'd be like, all right, I think this one's the most established. But the very first versions dated back to like 2020, 2021, when
Hmm.
I was back in England during lockdown, and
Yeah.
all I did was have time to write music, and I didn't have like my studio set up. I just had like an acoustic guitar and a couple of pedals and stuff. So, um, yeah, that song's just been kind of like I've been sat on it for so long.
Yeah.
Um, it's a fun one. I love it. I don't. We're not gonna play it on any upcoming tours just because it's the plan right now. Is any tours that we do or shows that we do has to be like because I feel like we're establishing ourselves as like a new band.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So want to just go in with energy as opposed to like acoustic songs, right? For right
That's
now, anyway.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So that one's probably the longest song, but my favorite, I would say it's out. It's going to be out on the record on in November on November 1st. A song called Heaven. It's track 4 on the record. I don't know. There was just like there was a feeling in the studio when we all just like would listen back to the unmastered but mostly mixed version of that song with the big choruses and the big guitar hits, and it sounds like a feels like a full circle moment for me.
Mm.
It like who is it? I played it to somebody from the like when the management team or something, and they were like, "Oh, it sounds very like jubilant and very celebratory. Like it sounds like
Yeah.
a like a the you've won that level that you've been struggling
Yeah.
for so long on like a game
Mhm.
because it's got like all these really cool like upbeating positive like
Hmm.
keyboard hits and guitars and stuff. So that one, when I listen back to it, it feels really good to kind of be attached to essentially. So, and that song is about my wife as well because it's about moving to California and like just feeling so content for probably the first time in my life. Just like, oh, I'm
Oh.
happy here and this is
Hmm.
great. I feel at ease. I feel at peace, and this is just great. So it's about like yeah, moving to California, not being able to feel anything like it until I like finally got here and settled in and called this home, and we made a home here in our little apartment. And so yeah, that's probably my favorite from the record.
Hmm.
And we're actually mid the group chat for the upcoming tours we have. We're actually deciding if it's one that we should put in the set or not. And I want to. I really like to,
Yeah.
but it depends. It's quite a hard one to learn, so I want the other guys to kind of be on board with it too
Gotcha.
Yeah.
before it
Well,
happens.
I
So,
hope you get your
but
way.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right now, I'm they. It's so funny because I say to the guys like in the group chat in the band, I'm like, hey, would you guys want to play this one or this one for the tour? And then I'll go into like this whole tangent about how like the BPM is a certain like it's a certain rate and the chords are a certain way, so it's more
Hmm.
upbeat and uplifting and energetic for the crowd to like probably pay more. And they're just like, dude, like whatever you want to do. And
It's
I'm
your
like,
project,
no, I
bro.
want you guys give me an answer. Yeah, I know.
Please
I
be on
can't just be
board.
like, I can't make a decision. Yeah, I can't. And I mean, I've had to, and I feel awful doing it because as soon as I say yes or no to something, my first
Mhm.
thought is, oh, everybody else doesn't want this.
Mhm.
Oh.
But yeah, we're kind of like in that conversation right now. We're about to start. We call them digital rehearsals, where
Mm.
I'll be here at home on a Zoom call, like practicing, and the other guys will be. Josh and Jacob are both in Nashville, and Devin, the other guitarist, he's on tour with Dayseeker right now in the US.
Mhm.
So we have wait for him to have a day off, and we'll get to do like some proper rehearsal stuff. So yeah, it's great. Yeah, I'm so stoked for how everything's kind of like coming together right now. So
Hell yeah.
Good.
Stoked.
Wonderful.
So for this question, I want you to pick your favorite lyric off the EP and tell us the meaning behind it.
okay. Um, there is a line. It's funny actually. It's because it's one of the only lines on the whole EP that I don't sing. I wrote it, but I don't sing it. We have the Zeta Ray, an amazing artist from Nashville, featured
Mhm.
on the song "Love Me First,"
Mhm.
and that second verse is again. It's been years since I started writing that song, and it's taken so many rewrites and stuff. But there's a line where it says, "It seems to be suspended in my mind." The thought of you right here 1,000 times. There you'll stay until the sun distracts my eyes. Once it does, I'm left with nothing but the light. So it's a long one, but that whole sentence, I was like trying to write it without being as deep and as dark and as emo as possible. But I was like, no, it kind of needs that.
Yeah.
So um it's about just having the thought of love. Well, the whole idea of the song is somebody wants to love you so badly, and somebody wants to give you all of their love, time, and attention, and you want to accept it. However, you're just not fully prepared, like fully ready to give yourself to them until you have kind of got all your ducks in a row and you're happy and settled with yourself.
Mhm.
But the thought of that person and the love that they're offering you is just there constantly.
Mm.
So the scene, it's suspended in my mind. The thought of you right here 1,000 times. Um, there you'll stay until the sun distracts my eyes. So that person is always, 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 always on your mind until there'll be something else that comes in and just like for a second will just diminish that thought, and you have to like kind of focus on you know go back to focusing on loving yourself and working on yourself and stuff. Once it does, I'm left with nothing but the light. So there is nothing else in my mind except bettering myself because I'm so ready to accept that person's love. So it's
Damn.
a little deep, little emo,
Just
but
a little.
I'm pretty proud of that one.
Yeah,
I'm stoked.
that is good.
Yeah.
And we're trying to like decide how we can incorporate that on like one of those really cool like early 2000s like mosh t-shirts.
Yes.
Like
I was
remember
hoping
those
for
shirts
that.
where there was like a picture of like the front man in the crowd and it's like a blurry picture and then there's like dark lyrics and shit.
Yeah.
Imagine like a hardcore shirt, but it's just like the saddest fucking thing you
Sad as
ever
fuck. Like people read it
read.
and go, damn.
Like, God, this guy sucks. What's wrong with this guy?
Oh, I hope he's okay.
Be
Fuck.
happy.
Oh.
Cheer up.
Oh.
But yeah, that I think that'd be kind of fun to do.
Mm.
But yeah, that's long answer there again. I'm sorry, but that's my probably my favorite lyric on the whole record.
Hell yeah.
Damn right. Hell yeah. So would you be able to tell us where your headspace is at while you're creating this record?
Ooh. Well, being brutally honest,
Mm.
as one always should be, um, not in the best place. It's been a very like interesting couple years. Um, I took the big risk of picking up my entire life in England and moving out here to San Diego to be with my wife. We got married 2 years ago, and we're
Oh.
here. Like this is our home, and we love it. But there's always like a lot of stress that comes with moving to a new country, like
Mhm.
in the form of government officials,
Mhm.
and money,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just been a very like, I don't know, it's been a very up and down, hills and valleys, or peaks and valleys, sorry, couple of years. Even with like being as an ocean stuff, we had to pull a lot of touring over the last year and a half. Um, there was just a lot of internal family stuff,
Mhm.
which stopped us from being able to devote any time being on the road. Which obviously is family first, no matter what.
Yeah.
But it just paused a lot of my yearly schedule, and a lot of touring that we needed to catch up on. We're supposed to go out to Australia and Southeast Asia and US, Canada, and back to the UK, Europe, and it was going to be like a really busy year. And I think I'd kind of psyched myself up for that. So when everything got canceled, it was just like, okay, we got to figure out my next move right now. And there was a lot of like kind of internal conflict where I was just like, I don't know, I felt myself getting upset over the smallest thing,
Mm.
I love all my friends in bands and in the industry or whatever. I am so like stoked for them and their careers, and I'm so proud. But part of me is that little bit green with envy, where I'm like, God, I wish I was on tour right now. I wish, because
Mm.
it's all I've known for the last like 8, 9 years, and um, but it's kind of worked out because it just made me realize, okay, I gotta like knock my own priorities back into line, and focus more on my own writing stuff, focus more on my family life, focus more on stuff going on here.
Mhm.
I started working for this really, really cool events company here in San Diego, where I'm still around like performers and creative people and stuff. And it's just here. So I'm not touring it, but I'm still going on tour with Heart of Gold. And
Mm-hmm.
so things have started to fall into place, in the best possible way. But during the writing process last year, there was a lot of like, fuck moments,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
God, this sucks, pick myself up, go and like, treat myself to an ice cream or something. And
Mm-hmm.
then, you know, tomorrow's a new day kind of
Mhm.
thing. And
Yeah.
the only thing I've been like, I get to hang out with my wife and my dog every day, and it's so cool. And I get to work and get to write music. And the biggest things I was looking forward to during the day was sitting down at my computer and just like, oh, in the middle of the night, I woke up and I had an idea for a song. So I'll like,
Mm.
the next morning, I'll be like, I hope I remembered it. I'll sit at my desk and try and write it.
Yeah.
So, sorry, my dog's just
Speak of the
get out
devil.
of here. He has this toy. It's this yellow little thing, and it's way too small for his mouth. He's gonna choke on it one day, but it was like a 50-cent toy from the store. And he
Yeah.
has a basket full of toys that I spend a lot of money on, and he doesn't care. He
No.
doesn't
He
care.
likes the
The
50
dangerous
cent
one is
one.
his favorite.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it's like he knows. He's like playing with death right now.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
he's getting
So
old
fun.
as it is. So
Okay.
I
Christ.
would have turned the computer on. He's just staring at me right now. Like,
Oh my God. He knows you're talking about him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, he makes these noises where he looks at me when he does them, and he's like, "Yeah, this could be the one where I die." I'm like, come on, buddy. Hey,
That's fucking crazy.
That's
Not
that's
fun.
crazy.
he's old, but he acts like a puppy. He's like 10 years old. He's a boxer, but he acts like a puppy.
Oh.
He's like jumping up and down on everything, and
Mm-hmm.
he's gonna hurt himself one of these days. But he's my best friend. And his name's
Mhm.
Winston.
Fuck yeah,
Shout out
Winston.
Winston.
That's a
I'm
badass
gonna-
name
Come here.
for a dog.
Come here, buddy. I want to see if I can get him over here. I'll show you. Come on. Come here. Come here. Come on. Hold on. Let me see if I can.
Oh, oh, oh.
You want to say hello?
Yeah.
Hello,
Oh,
Winston.
no.
Hi, Winston.
Hey, who's that?
Winston.
Who's this?
Does not give
Who's-
a Hi.
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 Who's that? Who's that?
Bro is confused as hell.
He's making a face. He's like,
Oh.
get them out of my face, man. Get the...
Yeah. He wants to go out is what it is.
Oh.
Now he's done that for me.
Mhm.
I'll have to open the door for him in a bit. But
Okay.
yeah, he's a good boy.
Fuck yeah.
Um,
Big fan.
I'm so sorry. Where were we? I'm so sorry.
No, that was about it. You wrapped it up and it was Speak of the Devil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
this old guy.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
So how do you recommend your fans to listen to this EP for the first time? Should do in the car with friends, in the dark with headphones on? Is work at EP, party EP? What do you personally recommend?
Whew. Well, so we've kind of timed our year out perfectly. So we've trickled out a few songs over the last sort of like 4 or 5 months. Stranger to Your Love, Human Nature, and then Love Me First all came out in about 3 weeks on Friday, November 1st. The whole EP is out, including the 2 additional songs, Sooner and Heaven. And I would absolutely recommend I mean, keep listening to the 3 that are already out, obviously, because that would be amazing and great, and share them with the world. That means so much to like artists of any size, caliber, whatever. But I would absolutely recommend on November 1st, pre-save it before then, because it'll automatically add to your Spotify, Apple, Deezer, Tidal, wherever. And when it comes out, just hit play from song 1 right to the very end.
Hmm.
Ideally some good speakers or headphones,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of instrumentation that I feel like you can really feel the effect of in when you get to hear it around you fully. So over the head headphones I always recommend with new music, or good speakers. And just like lyrically, the content is, I like to think relatable, and I think there will be somebody out there who will hear it and be like, "Oh my God, that's my exact situation on Earth right now." So, so hopefully that will, help mean something to somebody, and just really embrace it, just really enjoy it, really. Or if you don't like it, thank you for giving it a go. I appreciate that. But yeah, we've timed it so. I'm so sorry. This guy drinks like a fish. We've we've timed it so the record comes out, and then we've got exactly 3 weeks before we leave for the tour. We're headed out to the UK and Europe with Dayseeker and Rain City Drive, and that's going to be, hey, come on. That's going to be an amazing experience. This last I heard, the entire tour is like about to sell out.
Fuck
And these
yeah.
are some of the biggest rooms I've ever played, even with being as an ocean and past bands and stuff. So we are so excited. And again, I'm gonna have to spend the next kind of couple months learning how to do frontman duties. But yeah, I'm very stoked for people to just hear the EP, embrace it, try and memorize some of it for the tour would be great. And hopefully we'll make some new friends, some new fans. And yeah, it's that's how I'd like people to just enjoy it. So
Hell yeah, love it.
Wonderful. All right. And this one should be super quick off top of your head. I want you to describe this EP for new listeners in 3 words, no more, no less.
oh, if I remember rightly, you asked me this about the last one, and I was just like, I had one word. I guess I've used the word a couple times already, but relatable, honest, and I don't know. God, this is where I get stumped. Relatable, honest, and just
emotional.
No, I'm emotional. Yeah, that works. I didn't want that to be the most like kind of cliche word, because a lot of artists will say, "Oh, my record's emotional." It's like, all right.
Yeah, but
okay,
you did enough. You did enough explaining about the title that makes it a little bit like that word is not just like a buzzword.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, okay. So yeah, let's go with relatable, honest, and emotional.
There you go.
And I hope people listen to it, and they, like I said previously, like I hope they just hear something and they're like, oh yeah, that's my situation right now, or that's my friend's situation. A lot of the content was written not from my standpoint, but from other people's. Like that's one thing I always recommend, even for like writer's block. When people say they have writer's block, it's like, write it from your friend's point of view, then, write it from the other person's perspective, and that does definitely help sometimes. So yeah, either way, whoever's point of view it's from, it's relatable to somebody out there. So I hope
Mhm.
maybe people will pick up on that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this, in that same train of thought, is there a certain feeling or emotion you want listeners to have while going through the album EP?
I would just want people to like embrace it and think of it as more of a storytelling as opposed to just 5 songs.
Mhm.
Think of it as like, oh, this is a diary entry, this is a journal, as opposed to, you know, as opposed to just 5 songs that kind of sound okay, or oh, we just rhymed these words because it made sense. It's like, no, it's everything has been so meticulously planned and thought out and written to a point to make complete sense and be relatable in some way. So
Mhm.
just try and embrace it as a diary entry as opposed to a song for each
Gotcha.
song. So
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Makes sense. And are you able to touch on any particularly challenging or standout moments during the creation of this EP, positive or negative?
um there wasn't really much in the way of challenges. I
Mhm.
mean, time is always a big challenge when it comes to writing because you feel like I confidently went in thinking, oh, I could get this done in like a certain amount of time, but then it ended up being like, you know, everything takes longer than you always plan for it to take when it,
Mhm.
especially when it comes to creating something. But that is always a good thing because that means you don't have to use words like rushed or
Mhm.
oh, we just had to get through this, or oh, we don't know what to do with this part of the song, so let's just repeat this. So um yeah, I think no, nothing in the way of challenges except um yeah, actually it's not even really a challenge because I think we allowed ourselves, we didn't have like this crazy agenda to stick to. We wrote, the EP was finished by the beginning of this year
Mm.
and we planned to put it out at the end of the year, so that gives
Oh.
us the year to get everything kind of in a row and taken care of. And especially with like my recent departure from being as an ocean, it's kind of at the beginning of the year, yes, there was a lot of like, okay, do I have all the time in the world to do this stuff? But
Mhm.
now, like, I made my announcement about leaving in September, but the plan for me to leave, it was actually way before that,
Mhm.
so it's given me more time to focus on this. So um yeah, I think everything was like worked out in a way that give myself a certain amount of time to write, a certain amount of time to record and produce, tweak, and then give myself as much time as we need to like make sure it's ready for the world in terms of how we want people to see it and embrace it and enjoy it and so on. So
Hmm.
yeah, that's why we timed it perfectly with the tour and stuff like
Mhm.
that. So yeah,
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah.
if
Everything's
it
falling into
feels if it
place.
feels right, that's it. That's it. I always like, when we discussed having the EP come out at the end of the year, my first thought was, God, I feel like that might be too long. But then when you put it in a calendar and you look at it written down and you're like, okay, first song in May, second song in August, or sorry, July,
Mhm.
next song in September, it's like, okay, that gives people enough time to really enjoy and digest this one song. That's like 6 to 8 weeks. And then the next song is out. They can
Mhm.
do the same thing then. And then for the next 6 to 8 weeks before the next song comes out, they can enjoy the previous 2 songs that have come out.
Yeah.
And then by the time they've enjoyed that last song that's released, they're like, hopefully there's like people who are like, yo, I want more, I want to hear more. And it's like,
Mhm.
oh well, here you go.
Mhm.
Lucky for
Wait
you.
another 6 to 8 weeks, and here's
Mhm.
a whole EP.
Mhm.
Oh, and here's some tour dates, and it's coming near it's going to be coming to town near you. So, come in and enjoy it. And yeah, so yeah, when you see it out, when you see like a schedule and a plan, um, I always like say to friends and even like a lot of artists who are like kind of slowly establishing themselves right now. Just like, don't rush anything. It's not worth it.
Mhm.
There's no shame in waiting until you are fully committed and fully happy with what you have made, um, for the world to hear it and enjoy it.
Mhm.
Because that's the reason. If the reason you're writing and recording music is for the world to hear it and enjoy it, make sure it is absolutely where you want it to be first. So
Mhm.
yeah. that's kind of what we've done it with this. So
Absolutely. Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Well, on that note, that's all the questions we had for you today. Is there anything that you would like to plug?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, Heart of Gold is not many people are aware about, the whole connection with my past band and being as an ocean, but Heart of Gold, I'd love for people to treat it as just like this new thing that they can discover and enjoy and get on board with and come to shows and just enjoy what we're doing, because I don't feel any kind of like, in my mind, this is a brand new thing. It's not like I'm not riding any coattails. I'm not hoping for this, that, or whatever. It's grinding. It's hard work, and I just want people to just treat it as like a new thing that they're like experiencing and enjoying for the first time. And if we happen to come near you on a tour or anything like that, just come out and have a good time and enjoy it. It's a new world for all of us, So I'm just like, yeah, I want to like. The only reason I ever started writing, recording, and playing music was to just like make connections and with people from all walks of life. So the more people I can get on this train, then the better. Because it's there's so much that goes into it, and we just want people to just really enjoy it. That's so yeah.
Hell yeah. Love that. All right. Well, thank you for sound. It's been Michael from Heart of Gold, and we have been the Good Noise Podcast.